Both traditional societies and those more advanced have always maintained, and in varying degrees still maintain, a certain prejudice against the foreigner. This xenophobia manifests itself through archetypal cliches to be found not only in the national language, stingy as a Scot, lazy as a Negro, drunk as a Pole, but also in social institutions. Prohibition of, or at least bias against, mixed marriages, limitation of economic activity, and non access to certain offices. I am reading an outline of the role of color in adaptation phenomena, my next section, by Francois Raveau. There remains the problem of defining the foreigner inside the boundaries of a country. By what label, both easy to impose and easy to read, can he be kept within the confines assigned to him by the community? This is also a way of fostering the transition of latent aggressiveness to an overt state, which is the inevitable pattern of xenophobias buried in the collective and individual subconscious. This is Black Living Room Talk. I am TB Wahid. I hope everybody has been having an awesome start to their 2023, even though we have had a succession of sad events happen. And I have a few guests that will be coming on soon to be talking about those issues. So let's get right into this. Historically, societies have attempted to mark those who do not belong by many means. Measures concerning clothing, adornment, designation of reserved quarters. The flimsiness of external characterizations of the foreigner has often been perceived by peoples who have been quick to give anthropometric observation an important role, elaborating type systems of the barbarian, the other. Ancient Rome produced a very accurate literature in this field. For Cicero, the Gaul could not be mistaken for the German, nor the Petrogenian for the Greek. Thanks to an abundance of often very subtle notations, the brachycephalic and the dolichocephalic, the long-limbed and the short-limbed, the morphology of the nose and the ear did not escape a Tacitus and were the forerunners of physiognomy. That's a tricky word. Physiognomy. But what could be more striking than the color of the skin? But what could be more striking than the color of the skin? All other distinctions fade before this basic one. A black, yellow, or white man immediately stands out in an environment where people have skins of a different color. This definitive barrier cannot be bridged by any artifice. Skin color transforms the human being into a sandwich man perpetually subjected to the gaze of those of a different racial origin. Moreover, since others perceive him as different, he sees himself as such in the eyes of others. At this point, several reactions are possible. Whether the attitudes are firmly established or less fully developed, they are lived out in terms of solutions based on escape, exaggerated self assertiveness, or simply negative behavior. The black minority in a white environment may react to this situation in numerous ways. Several factors can affect the total picture. A Negro American will cope with his skin color somewhat differently than an African traveling in Europe. While John Dollard and others are exploring adaptation phenomena in the United States, multidisciplinary research is being conducted at the Centre de Psychiatrie Sociale in Paris under the direction of Professor Roger Berstein, whom I assist. Within the scope of the École pratique des hautes études at the Sorbonne, this work brings together ethnologists, psychologists, sociologists, and physicians of diverse specialties. Various groups in a condition of adaptation are being studied. Among them are Africans from the French-speaking republics. Now, those words that I just attempted to read are in French. So, I did my best to read them, to pronounce them. Raveau goes on to say, since these countries have been granted independence, France has, of necessity, had to accelerate the formation of cadres for the young states on the administrative as well as the technical and economic levels. The development of these new potential elites poses a number of problems. Each of them constitutes a subject of study at the center. It is possible to extract from this global approach a number of considerations relative to the role color plays in the process of adaptation. Although our purpose is to isolate this theme, we have not done so in such a way as to ignore other factors, biological, social, and climatic, which enter into the phenomena of adaptation. To date, the Center has studied 900 Africans in contact with the French environment. About one-third has finished the course of adaptation. Another third is in the midst of the process, and the last third is just starting. The subjects range in age from 19 to 38, with the average being 26. The pathological cases were studied first, since illness often magnifies the symptoms and psychological aspects hidden most deeply within the sick person. The inductions of hypotheses thus obtained were then verified in terms of the normal. Much smaller test groups composed of natives from Haiti, Martinique, and larger ones from the Malagasy Republic were formed in order to verify and supplement the initial results obtained through intensive study of Africans. Much of the evidence that will be related may appear elementary at the level of daily life. However, such situations are loaded with pathos for those who experience them. A black man who comes to a country of whites very often undergoes an initial shock when he faces large numbers of white men and women. In his native country, he may have thought about what it would be like to be surrounded by a majority of whites, but the actual experience of being alone in so different a crowd is always felt as something extremely new. His position has been reversed. Once one of the dominant group, numerically speaking, he now belongs with the minority. In Africa, the white man is often identified through his position of authority, wealth, and prestige as a powerful quasi-paternal person toward whom the African feels unmistakably hostile. He serves both as a model for and an obstacle to personal advancement. The process of identification leading to the realization of this model presuppose that the model itself will disappear. The dialectic between the colonizer and the colonized, an age-old relationship very much alive in the minds of the young elites of these developing nations, is instrumental in focusing latent aggressiveness on the white man. The African therefore resents the white world as doubly hostile. First, because it is unfamiliar to him, and as such a source of fear, and second, because through a classic pattern of projection, his own feelings of hostility will be transferred to the receiving environment, and subsequently will turn around and be directed against himself. The African travels to France to acquire a useful technique, a new knowledge often materialized by a diploma awarded by whites whose demands he generally overrates and whom he fears as more efficient competitors. These various stresses, added to the bioclimatic shock, weaken the African's defenses and result in intense anxiety. The prime symptom of those subjects seen thus far at the center. The role of color in adaptation phenomena. The outline of the role in color in adaptation phenomena. This gets more intense, and we're going to go into talking about the anxiety neurosis of one of the first cases that were studied. Please stay tuned to Black Living Room Talk for more conversation, information, and stories. I will be having some guests on, and this will take place at the end of February, or I want to say the 1st of March. I'm trying for February. It will be maybe about 3 to 4 people, and we're going to be talking about a plethora of things, current events as well as past events, solutions to the issues in our community. Also, I want to let you know that I'm working on having it as I'm hoping to have everybody agree to be on camera if I can. So right now I'm done with that part, and I will be back to read and talk about the next section. So I wish you all Ma'at Hotep. Truth and peace be upon you.